Hey everybody, I'm Steve Looney from GraphicDesignerTips.com. Welcome back to episode number 13 of Logo Design Bootcamp. Alright, so at the end of each video every week, I always ask for your suggestions on future videos or, your comments on them. I got a comment last week from username Kiki81 asking us that for the letter M, if we would consider doing makeup as a topic. When I first saw that, I was very interested because if that wasn't brought up to me, I would have never thought of it because I'm usually designing themes around things that I'm interested in. More manly things, I guess, sports and other hobbies of my own. So Kiki81, thank you for bringing that up to me. I did follow through, but I just want to let you know, every video I usually follow my theme. Like if it's a corporate video, I threw a suit on last week. I didn't put any makeup on for this logo, but the logo you're going to learn from today is called Magic Makeup, and I really like this logo. It's an elegant logo using simple font. And let me get into critiquing this. We'll build it in Illustrator, and then I'll be right back. The Magic Makeup logo was a fun one to put together. It's got a lot of stuff going on, but really in the end, it's just basic shapes and it's keeping it simple. But there was a lot of time I did work on this to get it to where it needs to be. But that's with any logo. So the font in this is called Dancing Script, and you can find it on the internet for commercial use. And basically, when I design logos, I try to make it so if somebody looks at the logo, they can kind of get an idea, a feel of maybe what industry it's a part of. Now, my wife is very into, all women, are into makeup, but the inspiration came from, looking at some of her makeup bags and stuff like that. Although most makeup bags have zippers on them where you open them, there's one or two she has that has like a kind of a handle on it. So using the letters M for magic and makeup, I made the Magic Makeup with the two M's here, which actually could either be a handle of a bag or interpreted as a mirror, kind of like what I did with here. So this whole thing can be a dresser, in the shape of a dresser, sort of. So you can interpret it in a number of ways, which is pretty cool. That's my goal every time I make a logo, just to have fun with it. But it's the same font on both of these. I added this little kind of magic wand, because it is Magic Makeup, it's called, leading to this star right here, which is pretty cool. And using pinks and swirls in the background, this is kind of how we got this to be where it needs to be. Alright, so now we're in Adobe Illustrator CS6, and we're going to start building this logo. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create these M's up here by coming over here to the ellipse. I'm going to make one ellipse. I am going to Option-Shift-Click, and we're going to come down and copy that ellipse on top. And we're going to select both of those and minus the front in our Pathfinder. So now we have that shape. We're going to turn it on an angle, and we are now going to flip it across. We're going to the Reflect tool, flip it over, and we got the first M. And now we're going to select both of these. We're going to copy, and we're going to Command F, paste in front, or you can come up to Object, Edit, Paste in front, and we are just going to make this a little smaller. And what I did was I wanted the bottoms to line up. So if I pull my ruler guide out, I want this to line up. So let's make this a little larger. And we're going to lower these. Okay. We have our M's. And yeah, I did do a lot of fine tuning on my other one. You see how the M's kind of touch, but this is just for the purpose of the tutorial. Now we're going to make this texture in here. And the way that we're going to do that is we're going to add strokes throughout the whole piece. We're going to make like a nice thick black stroke for now, and we'll color it in later. Alright, so copy them over until you get all the way to the end. Let's fast forward this. Alright, so now we got all our strokes in here, and I'm going to come in and take these four elements, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to go to Command 2 and lock them, so you can't mess around with them on accident. And I'm going to select all of these strokes, and I'm going to come up to Edit, Path, Outline Stroke. And now they are shapes. And I'm going to fill it with a pink color. And we're going to go to Object, Arrange, Send to Back. So it's behind the black. Alright. The next thing I'm going to do is, now these are shapes, which means that I can basically do whatever I want with them. So I decided to fill it with a gradient from white to light pink. And the way that I did that was, if you come into your gradient, and this is something you're going to learn in this tutorial, so pay attention. If you take magenta, for instance, and we double click the magenta, let's change that to from process to spot color. And I'll show you what that does. Let's throw that now magenta spot color. You're going to see it's going to make a little white triangle on the right corner. We're going to drag that into our gradient. And what that does is now we have magenta to white. So I'm going to make my gradient from top to bottom. And if you look, that magenta is kind of heavy. Based on the fact that I made this a spot color now, I can click this and I can come up here into my color and lower the percentage of the spot color. So this is something I haven't taught in a video yet. So this is to get exactly, you know, what you want on your gradients. It's pretty cool. So the next thing we're going to do is we're just going to color in these black arches. This one's going to have pink, and this one's going to have pink. And I'm going to make that a little bit darker, like so. Okay, now we have that handle. And the way that I stylized the middle of the handle where I made it purple, I basically just came into here and did a gradient mesh. And you're going to click in there, and you're just going to make it darker. Add some black in there. Like I said, there was a lot of fine tuning, a lot of time I spent on it, so I want to make these tutorials kind of quick for you. Now we're going to group this whole element, and well, actually we got to add the background. So we're going to make circles behind here. You can kind of just fudge these for now and throw them in the back. 1, 2, and we're going to send those to the back. All right. So we'll come back to this element later, group the whole thing. All right, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create this outside shape, and we're going to create a rectangle. Let's see. Okay, we're making a rectangle, and we're going to now make an ellipse that gets knocked out from that rectangle, and we're going to copy that ellipse over, Option-Shift-Click, and move that bad boy over. And we're going to take the 3 of these elements, and we're going to unite them. All right, so that's going to make it its own original shape. And we're going to fill it with that magenta color we made before at 100%. All right, now we're going to go to Copy, Command-C, Command-B. It's going to paste it in back, and we're going to add a white stroke. All right, now add a couple of pounds of weight on it, and you're not going to see anything happen until we do this next thing. Let's Copy-C and Copy-B again. So we're copying another version in the back. And let's change the stroke to, well, right now it's at that magenta, but we're going to change it to a light gray to change the nice look and feel of this. And now we have, so basically we have that magenta. Let's just say this is blue. This is our second layer behind it with the white stroke, and then we have this third layer in the back. Now, before I go any further, I am going to back up 1 second. And I'm going to lock this first one by going to Object, Lock Selection, or Command-2. And we're going to come up to this, the one that's behind it that has the white stroke. We're going to round the corners. Round Join, which is this middle option right here. And we're going to lock that by Command-2. And now we're going to go to that final one with the gray stroke, and we're going to round the corners. So it gives a nice little feel on the back. Okay. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to, if you look on the internet and type in grunge floral vectors, you'll find tons of free floral vectors that you can use in any artwork for commercial use. So basically what I did in this is I found a floral vector, and I'm just going to lay it on top, fill with white, and that's how you get that effect. And to change the background the way that I did that, you're going to come to the Gradient Mesh tool, and we're going to click on this pink area, and right now it's changing it to white, so we don't want that. We want to come back to our magenta, and we want to lower it, that magenta that we turned to a spot color earlier, and we want to lower it just a little bit. Right now I'm at 44%, and we're going to click over here, and one more time over here. So actually I don't like that. kind of gives it a really hard edge. So now we got our shape there. And the final thing I'm going to do is, because we're going to do this text last, is you're going to come up here and we're going to make a rectangle that goes over the entire top and fill it with whatever color you'd like. I'm going to fill it with this maroonish color. And we're going to make a point here by hitting the plus sign on the keyboard. It adds it's a pen tool that you can add an anchor point. And now we're going to hit the minus sign. You're going to see a little minus sign comes up, and we're going to delete that endpoint. And we're going to now go to Shift C, and it's going to take this, the convert anchor point tool. We're going to take that point, and we're going to, while holding Shift, get it to where we want it to be. Come all the way to the other side and do the same thing. We're going to add a point, delete a point, and actually, since we did Shift C on the other side, it already creates an anchor point for us to pull and get to where we want it to be. All right, that's good enough. Okay. Now we're going to move this whole selection down. We're going to take this group selection and we're going to kind of fudge it a little bit. It's too large right now. And just like so. Okay, now here comes the fun part. Let's mess around with some type. Actually, you know what? Before we do the type, this is kind of just an effect I added on the bottom to make it look like it had like a little bit of a shadow going on, you know, reflection. We're gonna make a little box on the bottom, and since it has that specific gradient already, we're good to go. And we're just gonna take these points using the direct selection tool, or A on the keyboard, and we're gonna pull them out while holding Shift, so they don't get all distorted like that, kind of like so. And you can even come to your transparency now and maybe lower that to like 50% and send it to the back. All right, send it behind everything. If you don't know how to do that, you go to Object Arrange, and that option's right in there. All right, now we're onto the type. Magic. All right, the font name was Dancing Script, so I made the M on its own, and so I could kind of twist it and turn it and manipulate it. Dancing Script. All right, because originally the font is like this. And the way that I did it was I wanted it to go like this. And we're going to have that overlay the top and the bottom. Okay, and the reason I had changed the M was because I didn't want to have to put two M's. You know, I wanted one M to say for magic. Oops, one M for magic and one M for makeup. So it uses the same starting letter. And I'm going to come here to Agic and Akup. Alright, we're going to make that really large. And I purposely made it so, I actually did turn this a little bit. I purposely made it so that P, the way the P rounds, it fits right in there. So that's another little design element. It's, you know, it's the little things the client may not notice, but it's, you know, as a graphic artist, I notice all these things when I look at you know, people who design stuff well. So so we got magic makeup, and the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make this little brush stroke right here. And the way that I did that basically was taking my brush tool, and we're going to do one of these kind of right up to where that eye is going to be dotted later, and I'm going to increase the stroke on here. All right, to 2. Yeah, 2 is good enough. Let's see. I want it to kind of look like it makes sense right there. All right, so 2.25. If you didn't know that, you can do odd sizes in your strokes and not just full numbers. All right, so now we got that, and we're going to outline that stroke so it's a shape. Outline stroke, and we're going to now make sure Magic, Makeup, and the M, we create outlines. So Object, type create outlines, or Shift Commands O, and we're going to kind of mess with this a little bit, make it thinner towards the end by using our direct selection. All right, cool, good enough. since this is its own selection now, its own shape, we're going to combine it with this shape right here by coming here, and we're going to go to merge. All right, so now it's its own shape, actually with the P. So basically, we're going to now select all of these shapes right here, and we're going to fill it with white. And we're going to go to Command C and Command B. And now there is a version of it right behind it. You just cannot see it. It's hidden. We're going to add a gradient, and that gradient is going to be a gradient of pink to dark purple. Now, I already have my gradient made, so I am just going to increase the weight here. And I am going to now, let's see, what am I going to do on here? Come back to my gradient, and while I'm on the stroke, I'm going to come over here to the third option, apply gradient across the stroke. All right, and it's going to change the effect that I wanted on here. And let's just do this real quick. Okay, cool. All right, the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select all these white areas. Make sure I got all the white. Okay, and we're going to lock it, Command 2, and we're going to select 1, 2, 3, 4 areas. And we're going to come up here. We're on the object, we're on the layer with the stroke now, and we're going to come to Effect, Apply Drop Shadow. And make sure it's a very subtle drop shadow. Now, I don't want the color to be black. I want it to come in here and get a pink, a dark pink. So it works with this piece. You'll see. All right, it gives it a different effect. Much different from the black. You see that? It's a much better shadow than this hard black shadow. So let's see. All right, so let's back up a second so you see where it was. It went from that to that. Now that's much more pretty than the other shadow. All right, so let's see. Let's turn our guide off and see if there's anything we missed. Yes, we missed a star. You're going to come up in here under the rectangle tool, get the star tool, and we're going to fill that with white. Fill it with white. Put it in the spot it needs to be, you know, rotate it a little bit. And I'm going to Command C, Command B. I'm going to fill that stroke like so, and add that same drop shadow on it. Come in here to my drop shadow, make sure it's a dark pink again. Hit OK. Hit OK again. And all right, I think we got most of this. Let's see. The last thing I added was these little arcs in the mirror, which you can do by simply coming to your rounded rectangle ellipse tool, making one ellipse, fill it with color so you can see, copying another ellipse on top of it, and then subtracting the front one. All right, then putting it over the mirror, putting white in it, and kind of just putting them wherever you'd like. We can make this smaller if we'd like. Now this is a mirror, so you know things will reflect off of a mirror. That's the kind of effect I was going for there. And that's it on the Magic Makeup logo. All right, so now that you guys know that I actually listen to you every week, I'd like you to leave your suggestions in your comments below on what you'd like to see in future videos, maybe effects, text effects, you know, any kind of thing that you want to see incorporated into a logo. If you have ideas for the future letters, we're at the letter M, so we're halfway through this series. We got a lot of videos to go, so, and my brain's only has so many ideas. So I'd love to hear from you. If you like this video, definitely like us. We have some other videos over here from other episodes. Check them out, and definitely hit this button right here to subscribe to our channel. If you don't, you'll never know when we come out with new videos. If you do, you'll get them in your mailbox, depending on your settings with YouTube, every couple of days or every week. So I'm Steve Looney from GraphicDesignerTips.com. I hope this helped you out, as always. And thank you all for the love that you've been sharing on our previous videos. Much appreciated. And that's it, everybody. Have a blessed and awesome night. Peace.